welcome 239 Uncensored, everything Southwest Florida and beyond. And we have some great guests here today. These gentlemen, we've got Winston White and we got Tim Hale. And Tim, I remember your name very easily because it's the same as mine. But you guys are in town and you are going to be starting a podcast. It's going to be the Collier Sportscast, right? Collier Sportscast that's going to be the new podcast. And really what we want to do is bring you guys in, introduce you. We're going to actually be producing that here in our studio. And gentlemen, welcome. This is going to be like a really neat adventure.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, really appreciate you inviting us.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you. As we know, we have a lot of things going on in Collier County, and we discussed it earlier. What are we going to try to accomplish with this Collier Sportscast? I'll start with Winston on this one.
Yeah, well, you have to go back to the history of the Sports Council initially. The Sports Council was started back in 2004, if I'm not mistaken. I came to Collier County in 2013, and off the background of a very successful soccer career back in the UK, I wanted to continue being involved in sports. And everywhere I've been and lived, I've been involved in the community in terms of sport and helping particularly young people get involved in sport and sport awareness, particularly my game of soccer. So when I came to Collier County, I was quite surprised actually that there was a lack of almost like infrastructure in terms of communication. Facilities terrific, but lack of sort of awareness of what was going on. So when I was looking for things, I couldn't really find a great deal. I was invited to the Sports Council by the then president to get involved and sort of bring some more awareness of it.
Yeah, and you're the current president of the Sports Council. Yes.
I am. Yes, I was voted in actually 2 years ago, but I actually took up situ at the beginning of this year simply because of COVID and nothing happened.
Right.
So the point of the Sports Council, to your question, is that we want to be a conduit, sort of an intermediary, a communication pathway to all things that are going on in Collier County. So providing that information about all sport and sport-related things, that's kind of it in a nutshell. We also are providing some other stuff as well, which I'm sure Tim will tell you about it shortly. But we are looking to really be a force and a sports tourism destination for Collier County.
Yeah, so we all know that Collier County's got the opportunity, right? The mega opportunity for people to come to Collier County. Now, we know that you're big into soccer. However, I think you're wanting to try to get Collier County sports in general to be showcased here. Is that correct?
Most definitely, yeah. I mean, I was invited to get involved in a project where they were looking at building a big sports complex. And when I saw the plans, it blew me away because I played soccer all over the world. And this is one of the best facilities that I'd seen by a long way, particularly when you factor in that it's a community facility. I've seen some great private ones, but this is a community facility that has everything as good as most private ones do. So they brought me in as a consultant to look at, some of the plans and some of the ideas for generating business, particularly in the soccer world. And so I wanted to get involved more so after that consultation side of things. And now we have this amazing facility, which a lot of people don't know about. So again, this is one of the reasons why we start the Collier Sportscast, because it brought to light that people actually don't know what's going on their own doorstep. So with this fantastic facility and all the sports that it can provide, indoor and outdoor sports when it's completed, we felt it was a perfect opportunity to produce this communication pathway for people of Collier County, the residents and the visitors of Collier County.
Yeah, and Tim, you are a committee member of the Sports Council of Collier County. You've been around here for quite some time. Give me a little bit of your assessment and kind of, again, talk a little bit about why the podcast is going to be important and kind of a little bit of your assessment where we are right now.
Yeah, right now, well, originally how I got involved with this is that I work with Naples Transportation and Tours.
Right.
And so, with me doing what I'm doing out there, well, my CEO said, look, I want you to become a part of the Sports Council. And he says, I'd like you to represent, be on there. And so I did. And so then by meeting with Winston and others on there, then they had me elected onto the board. And the thing is, what we do is that we've got so many different sports that are out there, but they're not being talked about. And I got to go back to basically what happened with me when I came down here is that basically I was broadcasting up at Western Michigan University, the men's and women's soccer teams, and the high school athletic association's boys and girls state finals. And so I came down here and it was like, well, I'll see what's happening. I heard about the complex, but it didn't really, I'm going, well, I'm going to try to check it out. So the funny thing is that when I got re-involved in sports down here, I got hooked up with Florida Gulf Coast University's men and women's team. And so we start talking, and then all of a sudden with work, I'm looking at these different events that are coming down here. And a lot of those events kind of came to me because I got involved with, they opened up the complex. And I happen to know the management company that was there. And so they wanted to hire me in to be the broadcast of their soccer events and then get a team together to do other things. Well, with that being said, all of a sudden I started coming across lacrosse. I started seeing, I knew all about FBU.
Right.
There's other things. And then once I got involved with them and what they were looking for and how to do it. Well, this isn't only just a sports complex. This can be used corporate wise. And so that became very appealing to my CEO because we also do a lot of different types of events all around the world. And so we figured that we could possibly team up with that sports complex and do it for sports and corporate because of the way that it's laid out. And so if you try to sit here and if you come down here and you're trying to find different sports, you can't find any sports hardly. You get a few clips on TV, but basically there's so many great athletes that go on to college that have gone on to play professionally. And it's like, they're diamonds in the rough and nobody ever talks about them, mentions them, gives them kudos. And so it's like, wow, this place, is people need to know. People want to know. With the community. And so we're hopefully going to do a podcast that is going to be able to reach out to whatever sports events that are here in Collier County, get the word out, let them, build this up.
Yeah. And we're talking about the sports complex. Now, some of us in Collier County, and I know a little bit of background of it, but what's the official name and where's it located? So we can pass that on to our people.
So it's officially called the Paradise Coast Sports Complex. And if everybody knows 75, if you get off at exit 101 off 75, heading towards City Gate, which most people know locally, then you will see the signs to it. It's really quite easy to find if you know where the waterworks is at City Gate.
Right. It's tucked back in.
It's tucked back in, yeah. Now, signage has been an issue. I must say, the management have explained some of the reasons why. It is the rules in Collier County in terms of signage and stuff like that. So it can be challenging if you're just turning off. But if you head towards, if you have your navigation and you just, sort of Google Citygate, you'll come across it because, it's a pretty standout place.
Yeah. So now on this Sportscast, are we going to be talking to local kids, local people, coaches, that type of thing? Is that kind of what you want to do? And like you said, highlight some people that maybe are going on and to the next level or currently very successful at the level here.
Right. Yeah. That's the one thing which we want to do is that we want to reach out to everybody because number one, when we have these events, people really don't know that those events existed. And so it's like, wow, I know that we have a big lacrosse tournament. We had a big lacrosse tournament last year. We had the men from Ohio State and the men from Harvard come down here and play in the first ever NCAA game here in Southwest Florida.
Wow.
And they attracted 2,200 people. Well, not a lot of people knew about it. And then on top of that, 2 weeks later, Notre Dame's women's team came down here and then they played Yale.
Wow.
And nobody knew about that. And lacrosse is just absolutely burning up down here in Southwest Florida. So with sports like that, but we want to be able to touch, there's a lot of high schools that have outstanding, players and teams. They're winning state championships. well, you hardly hear anything about them unless they're playing, football. That's
right.
For the most part. Other than that, they really don't. So if you try to follow or do anything high school wise, you can't follow it because there's no place really to follow it unless you want to get onto the website.
Yeah. And I noticed the news, it used to be, I remember when I first moved here, like in the morning, at night, at all hours during the weekend, they would be covering all the local events. Now, I know Naples Daily News has scaled back tremendously. Fort Myers News Press has scaled back. Even NBC, CBS, the major networks, they have maybe just a quick blip, but there's really not a lot of push for what is going on. And, like you said, you get Harvard and Yale, you get Notre Dame, you get these NCAA Division I schools coming down here, and nobody knows about it. That's problematic. So I think this podcast is going to be right in line with everything that we want to have. And I think you gentlemen are going to be great to push it. And professional athletes like yourself, Winston, I did a little research on you. You played a lot of games of soccer, right? We call it soccer, but having somebody that kids look up to and people in general look up to, I think it's very important. Having this podcast, I think, is going to be a great asset to the community.
Yeah, because it definitely is something that is needed, and we are going to reach out. It doesn't matter what sports are, because the one thing down here in Naples is that we have the creativity to bring in so many different sports that you normally can't get anywhere around the country, especially big water sports, fishing events, triathlons, things like that. We want to be able to make sure that people come in here, and hey, we can't forget about pickleball, because look what pickleball did, when they were here for 10 days. I mean, the county made a lot of money, and so did all of the hoteliers and restaurateurs.
Where's that going? Does anybody know a little bit about that? We still continuing to have the World Championships here, right?
US Open.
US Open?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah. So just a little bit, just quick background on that. So on our committee is Jim Ludwig, who started it all. And Jim is a good guy. He's a good friend of mine as well. And there were a few tears before bedtime, before Jim got to where he needed to get to in terms of making it the force it is now, pickleball. Convincing a lot of people, but pickleball has turned out to be an incredible success story because it suited the demographics of the community, right, and the county. So, what we're saying is that, a lot of other sports can actually do things like that. Every county that I've read about in and around Florida has a sports tourism, department. We don't have a sports officer here in Collier County. That's mind-blowing to me. And so, I don't think there's enough attention paid to it. I have a saying, right? Although I was a professional athlete, I'm now an amateur fan. I want to go and learn about more sports that are not typically played when I grew up, like, softball, like baseball, sports that are not big outside of the US. Yeah. I want to learn. Yeah, I want to learn about those sports, and a lot of other people do. So, you've got to create that shop window so people can see what those sports are about, and so I think it's a real shame. Everybody wants to come to Southwest Florida because the weather, the beautiful beaches, and all that cool stuff. Why don't they, why don't we provide an environment where they come to watch sports as well? It's such a great thing.
Yeah. And we know there's obviously some politics behind certain things, right? So our commission, I think we've got some people heading in that right direction that have been previously elected, or they're in the process of getting elected. So I think some of that conversation needs to go to them and say, listen, hey, we've got it. It's almost like we've got the perfect. It's almost like having a huge beach with huge waves with no surfers, right? We've got everything that we need to make this thing go. We've got the facilities, like you said, bar none, probably the best, maybe worldwide, right? We've got the beautiful weather. We've got the infrastructure for the most part, and we can build on that infrastructure. And it really, really helps everybody in Collier County when we all come together and use our resources, because the hotel people are going to benefit. Our employment's going to benefit from it. I just think it's a huge thing that without you gentlemen stepping up and trying to get people involved. And I want to be a part of it, right? And, you know, the 239 Uncensored, we want to be a part of, you know, trying to facilitate and let people know about these types of things as well. So it's big.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, how it impacts business is phenomenal. It is. I mean, again, if you look at pickleball, phenomenal. So, you know, all we're trying to do is just create that communication pathway. It's really that simple, and hopefully become a form of a hub, if you will, so that people can know what the calendars are. We work in silos here, unfortunately, in Collier County. You know, you've got the 5K runs, you've got, you know, pickleball to a degree, you've got that other sport over there. You know, we should have something that provides information right across the board so that we can continue to boost the economy, because there are other elements of tourism that are being successful. So why shouldn't sports tourism be a success here? It is in pretty much every other county.
Yeah. And you know, obviously with Tim's CEO looked at that and said, we need to be involved, because that's us. That's vital to our business, right? And I don't think it's probably just a money thing. It's about, like, let's make Collier County great, right? And let's utilize and showcase what we have here in Collier County.
Well, absolutely. And that's the big thing, is that we can do so many things here. Like I said, that's not offered throughout the country. You know, we've got the beaches. You can do sunset cruises. You can do, you know, trolley tours. You can do Segway tours. You can do so many different things, not only by just having sports down here, but see, it helps everybody as a whole. And with us, that's how our taxes get paid, is by having people come down here,
right,
with the tourism money. And so by giving them an opportunity, plus what it also does is, how often do you get a chance to come down here to Southwest Florida to stay in Collier County, or, you know, generally in Naples or Marco Island, you know, and you have a chance. So what else are they going to do? They're not going to come down here just for the tournament. What if you get knocked out early? Well, we've got so many different things to offer people, things that are not available throughout the United States. And it's very unique. It's very powerful. And the thing is that we're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. So why not be able to grow that? Because if we have the success of pickleball, which it is, so why can't we do something like that almost like every week or every weekend, you know, something like that? You can do that. And so we don't have these slow times. And when it is slow, I know that I think Lee County, they do an outstanding job of, when it is slow, they're actually making a lot of money off their parks and recs and bringing in events like that. And that's big. That's what you want to do. You want to keep the economy constantly running. And here's an opportunity, because so many cities around the United States, sports is their biggest way for them to get that money into their cities and counties.
Yeah, ask Green Bay, right? There's not a lot of, it's football. That's it. That's how they survive up there.
Right.
Let me ask you this. And again, it's not all about football, and that's what we wanted to bring in too. FBU, what's their stand right now? Are they coming back? Are they pretty much locked in here? They like Naples. How's that kind of factoring in?
Yeah, they do. I mean, very much so. I mean, Steve Quinn, who's the founder of it all, he's very much engaged in what the future holds for FBU. It is a very successful product. If you get the chance to go this coming December, it is a phenomenal product. Very close to my heart, because I go to these events and I see these young athletes with hope and aspirations. And for me, that's my driver. You know, you create that environment for these young athletes who, you know, with all respect, you know, probably it's their one shot at it. And it's just great to see. But the organization behind it is phenomenal. And FBU have been here a long time. They used to use the high schools.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
I remember over Goodlet and Naples High, Barron. Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't easy. You know, there was a lot of moving parts to that. So when the facility came along, or the idea for the facility came along, Quinny would, you know, jumped all over it, you know, and said, look, I want to be part of this. And, you know, it's a little bit of a no-brainer to go there. And it's fantastic. It really is. And it's a credit to FBU, who have put on the show. And it's a credit to the county commissioners as well, who saw that. But we need more. We need more, because we've got so much more to offer in other sports as well.
What do we see for the future? I know we have some other people that are very interested in the sports complex, and again in the parks. What do we see in the future? Do we have any big names coming, or anything that events and things like that really will stick out?
Well, there's a new management, fairly new management actually, because this is a second sort of management company that have come in, and they are doing a good job because they're realizing, as Tim alluded to earlier, that it's not just a sports facility, it's an entertainment venue as well. So they are looking at some really good things coming down the line. Introduce some new sports as well. Rugby, believe it or not, is coming down the line, which is a good sport actually. And it's where the game of soccer derived from as well. And so it's kind of a mixture between American football and soccer. So there's that side of it. And I think once people start to understand the game, I think that will be, that's a growth sport right there. And there's a number of different wellness events that are going on as well, which again is close to my heart. Because I started a foundation about 3 years ago for wellness and mental wellness, more to the point. So there is a number of different things that this facility can be used for. I call it almost like a chameleon facility. It can be adapted to different types of sports. And when we get it's like a clubhouse that's going to be built, I think next year, it's going to add another dimension to it again. So obviously, Collier County is not just about the sports complex. There's some fantastic facilities. North Collier Regional Park is a terrific facility. You've got Corkscrew, which is a terrific facility on Immokalee. So there's a lot to offer, as well as the water sports here as well. So, we know that there is a lot of work to do to get the message out. And it's a collaboration. What we're doing is a community effort. It's not about Tim and I. It's about we and Tim and I, so we need to be able to find that. And the Collier Sportscast is just one component of the communication that we're looking to build.
Yeah. And that Collier Sportscast is going to be a big voice for you and everybody else. So that's kind of a big push to get the message out. And I think that's kind of where we lack, obviously, and a good outlet, I think, will be great. And we all know that podcasts are great because you can listen to them whenever you want. You can go to the gym, you can put your earbuds in, you can listen before you go to bed. There's just a lot of opportunity there in the podcast world. Tim.
Yeah. And the one other thing that we had on our very first show that we had cut was Mark Rosenbaum, who is the athletic director for all of Collier County. Mm-hmm. And the one thing which they had down here first time ever is that they had the boys and girls lacrosse FHSAA championships. And it was the first time that it's been held down here in Southwest Florida, because normally they want to keep it,
Was it in Lakeland before, or up in that, or middle of the state somewhere?
Normally they always try to do the middle of the state, make it easy, but and so what they did is that once he pitched the High School Athletic Association about coming down here and trying it. Well, the thing is, what they can do is that's only phase one. And so I came from up in Michigan, where when they did the state softball, baseball, and at that time it's also girls soccer. So what they did is they hosted it all at Michigan State. So you had baseball, softball, soccer. It was like a sports festival. Well, the complex is putting in softball, baseball. We could do lacrosse depending on the season. They could actually do that. And what makes that so great is that it gives the opportunity for coaches to actually be able to come together to see each other. Because I know, being an ex-coach, that's the whole thing. You want to get together, and that's where you get these the conversations, and you talk about different things. And so that could be possible.
Synergy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's really an opportunity. And yes, we're down here. It's a little far, but once they seen this facility, they said yes to lacrosse. So it's down here for the next couple more years.
Oh, really?
And so that they are looking to maybe, they might be able to do it. They've never done anything like that, which in today's times, all the schools, especially when it comes to sports and stuff like that, they want to save as much money as they can. So if you can possibly host, baseball finals, a softball finals, a lacrosse finals, all at the same site, and so everybody's not scattered around. Everybody gets to see one another, see all the different events. That's just a big feather in our cap that we have this opportunity for.
No, that's fantastic. Now we're talking not just about the Paradise Coast complex, but let's go back to that a little bit. Where are we at with that? Are we like halfway done, built? And I know there's different stages, or 3/4 of the way, or a quarter. Or can you just get a little rundown on that?
Probably about halfway there.
Okay.
There are 5 fields currently, 5 sort of soccer field type set up in a stadium at the moment. So by the end of next year, we've been led to believe there's going to be 5 more fields available. So that'll be 10 fields, of course. Then there will be some softball diamonds, if I'm not mistaken. I think, is it 5 or 8?
Yeah, it's 5 softball diamonds,
yeah.
and 6 baseball diamonds.
And 6 baseball, yeah. So it's gonna be impressive.
Big.
And then you've got the clubhouse as well, which it's not going to be huge, but it's going to provide some indoor, structure. So there's a lot of options there as well. So it really is something to behold. And I would say to anybody that hasn't been there yet, they'll be blown away by it, because they also have an entertainment area as well called the Cove Bar, which, it's a great family entertainment area. So there are so many different components of it. They have a fitness factory as well. All right. So it's a little bit hardcore, I must say. You've got your sort of like, it's a small, like sort of like a Ninja Warrior type of setup there.
Right.
But it's impressive. It's really, really impressive. So it lends itself to a family day out, most definitely. It has all these different sort of pockets of events and activities that you can do. It has like ping pong areas, and it just really is a super facility. And when I see families, watching sport on a big screen, they have a big jumbotron screen there. When I see families watching, whether it's football, whether it's soccer, whether it's, we've got the World Cup soccer coming up in November.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a joy to behold, because they have a great lawn out there, which is about 2 field size. And I've seen that packed people watching this big jumbotron, and there's nothing like it in Collier County. The energy is palpable, and I love that. As a former athlete, I love seeing stuff like that. So we do have so much more to offer than we are offering in terms of the potential for this, but people have to know about it, and that's the point.
Right. Well, thanks, gentlemen. This has been great. I mean, what I really want to do is, when we have something big coming, obviously you're going to do the Collier Sportscast, right? So we're going to have your own, you're going to push it out, but also on the 239, we want you guys to come in, give us an update. It might even be a call in, however we can do it. Say, hey, what's going on this weekend? Let us know. We really want to be a part of all that. So it's going to be huge.
Just say very quickly.
Yeah,
Tim,
you got it.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, man, because it's people like yourselves that give us the voice, and the kind of the awareness that this needs to be addressed. It is a joy to behold when you see great sports in a great city. We don't have to sell the city sells itself, but if we can add a dimension to that, that's the key. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk about this.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for coming in. I mean, we met and get an opportunity to check out the studio. It's great. Sit down, do your thing. I'm out. It's good. It's fun for everybody, and it's kind of a cool place here and it's great having you guys as guests. And like I said, you guys here are family, and this is your home. When you come in and need to do whatever you need to do, broadcast, bring people in, guests, all that, we love it. It's great.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep, thanks, Tim.
All right, 239 Uncensored, everything Southwest Florida and beyond. It's great having these guys, Tim and Winston. We're going to see you guys around. Thank you very much for being a guest. We love it. Have a good one.